Howdy folks, Steve here again. Have you heard much about the swamp lately? Well, I don't know about you, but if the reports that I'm hearing are correct, the vortex is beginning to swirl. You know when a plug has been pulled on the bottom of a tub, begins to swirl? That's what I'm seeing. Now, the great moral arbiters of the world, who like to sort of bill themselves as such anyways, I include in this group the media, academia, Hollywood, and of course, elements of the deep state. Where were they? Where were they with their great outrage against the abuse of women, the abuse of children, on all this sort of stuff, when the great leader, Obama, was in the White House? Where were they? I didn't hear much protest at all. Could it be that he was tainted at the center of this great pervert scandal, which we don't have to imagine very much that the Clintons are very close to the center of? I mean, think about it. Bill Clinton was, I don't have this exactly down, but he was certainly accused of certainly inappropriate sexual behavior, having an intern, 20-something-year-old, give him a blowjob in his Oval Office. God knows what all else. Settling out of court for one of these women to the tune of about $800,000. There are flight logs that show him on Jeffrey Epstein, the pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, 11 times or so. This is the kind of people he hung out with. And he was connected into all these circles: the media, Hollywood, academia, deep state. And furthermore, a trail of dead bodies, as far as the eye could see, pretty much. Mysterious dead bodies behind everywhere the Clintons went. These were very dangerous people, and anybody tainted by them, and Obama must have, I mean, he had Hillary as his Secretary of State. He campaigned for Hillary, for God's sakes. And so the whole racket, this whole web of miscreants, we might call them, were so intertwined that people had to know what was going on. But ever since Trump got in, here's a guy who's not intertwined with all this group. He says one thing on a bus with Billy Bush. He didn't even say that he did it. What did he say here? I'm just going to, if I can pull up the quote. Where was it here? Okay. They let you do it, he says. Quote, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab him by the pussy, he says. They let you do it. And this is in reference to Trump bragging about the privilege of being a famous man around women. And all of these moral arbiters went ballistic. Hillary Clinton went ballistic. Hillary Clinton aided and abetted in sexual abuse by her husband. And furthermore, she went after women who accused, threatening to ruin their lives if they came up with anything else against Bill Clinton. And she goes ballistic over this. And it's just a shame that people don't put their thinking caps on. Has anybody been to a rock concert? I don't go to many of them. I went to one. I forget who it was now. They're actually country singers. And there were panties and bras just flying up onto the stage. This is known. It's called what do they call that? It's the hypergamy. Women want to be, enough women anyways, want to be with high-powered men, alpha men. Typically men that treat them like shit, people like Bill Clinton. And it's genetically geared that way. So, I mean, where did the term gold digger come from? It's not to disparage women. It's the nature of women to want resources. And the idea that if you're a rich and powerful man like Trump, who was in the day apparently quite good looking, I don't know what a good looking guy is, but because that's not my thing, but apparently he was, tall guy, lots of money, going places, alpha, etc. I mean, look at his wives that the guy had. He'd line up women wanting him. He could grab them by the pussy. And even that, even if men want to do that, even if women want that, I mean, even that's perfectly natural. If that wasn't true, none of us would be here, right? If somebody didn't want to grab somebody by parts of their body, and somebody didn't want that to happen, none of us would be here. People, wake up. So he's just saying it. There's nothing criminal about that. What Clinton did, allegedly, was criminal. And where were the great moral arbiters? Well, the truth is they don't give a fuck, as far as I'm concerned, about this. And what's happening now, and the reason the outrage against Trump, it's nothing to do with the shit they're making up. It's nothing to do with Russia. It's nothing to do with him saying he's going to grab by the pussy and so on. No. It has to do with, I think, that Donald Trump, and they know it, because these perverts, I'm going to call them perverts, this web of miscreants, they know that a decent man in the White House is their most feared and dangerous situation, because they have decency ahead of them, and they don't want decency around. I mean, the last thing a thief wants around is somebody who's honest. I mean, he might rat him out, He might actually tell a thief, look, if you don't sort yourself out, I'm going to make sure that somebody knows about this, and we're going to put an end to this. So the thief doesn't want to be around honesty, right? Just the way perverts don't want to be around decency. And that's the biggest thing about it, right? And so back in 2015, I was talking to some people, friends and family and so on, just when Trump announced that he was going to run. And I remember at the time I was thinking to myself, this guy's got a good chance at it. I'm a little bit of an idealist. I'm a little bit of a dreamer in a way, in that regard. It's not that I'm political. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm supporting anybody or anything. I'm not political. I don't even vote for anybody, because I think politics is a slave racket, really. But I don't hold it against people who think they can make a difference through that, because it was a time when I thought that too. So I'd be kicking myself in the ass if I was to go against anybody who thinks they can make a difference then. But anyways, I had suggested that if this guy does get in, the world's not going to be the same. And of course, people just laughed at me. First of all, they thought that if he ever did get in, just hypothetically, like in a dream world, in a fantasy world or whatever, which is all it was in their mind, that it would be a disaster. That wasn't what I meant. What I meant, it would be changed, but for the good. I don't mean the ideal good, but the good in comparison to what? In comparison to the racketeers like the Obamas and the Clintons. I mean, $10 trillion racketeers, and the people who wanted to go to war with Russia and war with Iran and everything. These neocons, these ridiculous neocons like Obama and Clinton. That's what I meant is never going to be the same, because this guy's beholden to nobody. He's got his own secret service around him. The only thing I said was he'll probably be killed if he got anywhere close, because the Clintons are so powerful, and like I say, there's a trail of dead bodies as far as you can see behind them. But the problem is, even I underestimated this guy. He's been able to do the undoable pretty much. I mean, he was right in many times when people would ask him, hey, can you run, going all the way back to the 90s or 80s actually. And he always said it's not time yet, because he had a sense for the ground. Like, he'd go to the freedom conferences, he'd go to Freedom Fest and whatnot throughout the US, and he was getting a sense, a sounding. And he listens to the alternative media even back quite a while, as far as I understand. So he had a sense of where the groundswell was coming from. So Trump, the consummate opportunist, he jumped in when he could see the crest was in his favor, the crest for freedom, right? There was enough white men who had risen up, had enough of being oppressed and being called racists and all this sort of thing. And they had created all these powerful platforms and were pushing through a narrative that was starting to overtake the mainstream media. And he was able to ride that crest, completely obscured and completely snowplowed the mainstream media, because they're dinosaurs. They weren't listening to the new journalist, right? So he's able to do it. And I said that, forget where I was at here, but so I said that I said that it was going to change if he got in. But I didn't know how he could possibly do it, because I thought it was, when I listened to some of his talks during his campaign even, he talked about all these things he wanted to do, some of which I thought were maybe good ideas, some of which I thought were crazy ideas, like his building up of the military. I'm not militaristic. His idea of building a wall, I thought was more of a show tactic, but I understood it in a way because I read Art of the Deal years ago, which was you create a lot of bluster right up front. He doesn't have to build the wall. He could put the army on the or he could just reinforce, or he could actually allow the Border Patrol to do their job, which they weren't allowed to do under Obama and so on. And under some of those deals, they were basically bellhops at the border for underage kids and stuff like that. So he doesn't have to build it. But it created a lot of show, it created a lot of stir, and he was able to do this campaign with spending no money, because the media was going so ballistic. They were reporting everything that he was saying for free, right? And everybody going, certain enough people were saying, yeah, it's not a bad idea. So there's all these things he wanted to do: tax cuts, the wall, do something with Islamic terrorism, and he was able to capitalize on all what was going on in Europe with the migrant crisis and all that, which it all fed in very well. But what was holding him back, the bridgehead that was holding him back, was this mighty swamp. And towards the end of his campaign, if you notice, he got into, I'm going to drain the swamp. We're going to drain the swamp. And I started to think about that recently, And to drain a swamp, you can do it in certain ways. You can pump it out from the top, but there's still all that sludge in the bottom. And that's what makes it the swamp, really. That's what makes it the real disgusting swamp. But if you can imagine, there's a plug in the bottom of the swamp, or you can drill a hole underneath the swamp and drain it. That's how you drain a swamp. You don't just, he doesn't say pump the swamp, he said drain the swamp. And the depth of the swamp are the real perverts. And that's what's going on, because when you have that kind of socialism that starts to creep in, and this whole body politic of people who produce nothing, like the Clintons, and they feed off it, and they end up being worth $200 or $300 million for what did they ever produce? They come out of the Oval Office with nothing. And then years later, they have $300 million, money from the Saudis, money from the Russians. Yes, collusion with the Russians, the Clintons, And of course, during the campaign, they started to accuse him of sexual abuse. And this is what perverts always do, right? Criminals, liars, and thieves and that. They always accuse their enemy of what they're doing. And Trump, this brilliant man, I think, part of his deal is, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. But in the meantime, the swamp is getting drained. Pedophiles are being arrested at record numbers. And one after the other, these bigwigs are starting to fall. The plug has been pulled. The whirlpool is starting to swirl. And the network is starting to fall. And all these people who had deals with, that they swore these confidentiality reports that they would say nothing. And they could with what's that? Weinstein and these guys who had these deals that they get their employees to sign, they could not say a thing. And meanwhile, they could go on raping and abusing and so on. All this is starting to unwind, and it's going to eventually go to pedophilia. And once all that web, all that swamp is undermined, then the great work of rebuilding and creating freedom will happen. But it won't happen because of Trump. It won't come because of legislation. It'll come because of the removal of legislation and the ability of people to do things. Because things like Bitcoin will not be regulated. Things like the internet freedom will be maintained. And it will be a different life for all of us. Steve here, Gran. Great chatting. Talk again soon. Bye for now.